Last week at the meeting of the Presbytery of Shepherds in Lapsley, we sort of took care of business. And so today I'd like to turn my attention at least to sharing with you a little bit about three books that I've read. Now, I'm rather eclectic in my choice of reading, and these are certainly things that come from different streams of thought. The first one is a fiction novel by Robert Tannenbaum entitled True Justice. And there's a piece in this book that just really strikes a chord with me, and maybe it will with you. Butch Karp is an assistant district attorney, and he has an artificial knee. He's happy with the prosthesis, since without it he would have been pain-ridden and a cripple. But he also appreciates, he says, the reminder that it provides of the fallibility of humans. The right knee, the one made by God, was clearly the superior product. And then he says, unlike the law, which is a sort of prosthesis that society has invented to substitute for justice. What a picture. A product of a human being, the law, which is a prosthesis that we have invented to substitute for justice. Another book that I read, and I would not have read this book had it not been for the prodding of two of my colleagues. It's called Stranger at the Gate by Mel White. Both of my colleagues are heterosexual, let me say that, because the subtitle of this book is To Be Gay and Christian in America. Mel White was raised and educated in a strict fundamentalist environment, and he spent 25 years as a filmmaker and a ghostwriter for such notables of the religious right as Pat Robertson, Jerry Falwell, Jim and Tammy Baker, and Oliver North. While pursuing his career, he raised a family and lived as a loving, devoted spouse and father, and lived a Christian life. All during that time, though, he was plagued by guilt and fear over his homosexual orientation. He came to believe, finally, that sexual orientation is neither a chosen lifestyle nor learned behavior. I guess what he's trying to say is that he came to believe that it was a part of his DNA. And talking about his installation as Dean of the Cathedral of Hope in Dallas, Texas, White writes, finally, after decades of ex-gay therapy, needless guilt, and growing despair, I learned to celebrate my sexual orientation as another of God's gracious gifts, and to take my place in the world as a responsible and productive gay Christian. Regardless of one's position on the issue of human sexuality, it's difficult to read this book, Stranger at the Gate by Mel White, without feeling a deep compassion for all gay and lesbian persons who are avowed practicing Christians. And finally, there is a book that really captured my imagination, entitled The Next Christendom, The Coming of Global Christianity by Philip Jenkins. No relation as far as I know. Jenkins writes that Christianity should enjoy a worldwide boom in the new century, but the vast majority of believers will be neither white, nor European, nor Euro-American. He observes that Christianity is flourishing among the poor and the oppressed, while it is declining among the rich and the powerful. He points out that an increasing share of the world's population will identify with either Christianity or Islam. And he goes on to say that the future of Christianity, which is grounded in the culture of Europe, will be in the Southern Hemisphere. He's carefully done his research, and he says that through that research it becomes clear that Christianity is on the rise, but that to understand it we need to be aware of what is happening in Africa, in Asia, and in Latin America, because that is where the Christian faith is vital and alive and growing and spreading. The Next Christendom, The Coming of Global Christianity by Philip Jenkins. Stranger at the Gate by Mel White. And True Justice by Robert Tannenbaum. All have some things to say to us as we seek the will of Christ in living the Christian life. Thank you.